All right, finding equivalent ratios is a very simple thing. It's exactly the same way as we find equivalent fractions. So let's review just for a second. If I had a fraction here, and let's say I had a fraction of 3/4, and I wanted to find an equivalent fraction to that, I would simply just take that and I would multiply it by specific numbers. So let's say I wanted to multiply this by 2. My new equivalent fraction would be, well, 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 4 is 8. So we can simply say that 6/8 is an equivalent fraction to 3/4. We do the exact same thing when we're finding equivalent ratios. So if I were to take a look at this right now, and I were to take a look at a part-to-part ratio here, and I can see that clearly this is a 3:5 part-to-part ratio. So if I wanted to find an equivalent ratio for that, I would simply just multiply both the first term, term 1, and term 2 by the same number. So if I wanted to say multiply this by 2, I'd simply say that this would be 6 to 10. And that is literally all you have to do to find an equivalent ratio. Okay? Now the same can be said for division. We're going to take a look at that here in 1 second. Let's take a look at this example. We have a ratio of 6 to 8 circles to stars. Okay? Now we can find an equivalent ratio one of two ways here. We can either multiply this. So let's say we wanted to multiply this by 2, and then we would end up with an equivalent ratio of 12 to 16. That is perfectly acceptable. But we can also divide. So if we wanted to change this out and say, hey, we can actually divide in this case because we can find a number that is a common factor between both 6 and 8. And in that case, the number would be 2. Okay? 6 divided by 2 would be 3. 8 divided by 2 would be 4. So we can say that 6 to 8 is an equivalent fraction to 3 to 4. Or, sorry, an equivalent ratio. Okay, so finding equivalent ratios is the exact same way as we find equivalent fractions.